Hi Jamie Law and others who might be interested in knowing about conversions, because not everyone knows that some machines were converted. I had a couple of questions on last YouTube video about what does a conversion mean. So I thought it's easier to explain it than it is to try and keep sending messages backwards and forwards. This is a good prime example of a conversion, Jamie. This was once a JPM loot chute, MPS 1. It's still MPS 1, but it's been converted by a company called PCP Limited, who are based in Bath. You could either buy the kits out of CoinOp or whatever magazines the arcade owners use. You could buy the kits and have the kits sent to you and convert the machines yourself, including all the button legends were converted. They basically take the cabinet and the wiring loom of the original machine and change the glass, the two glasses on this, obviously, bottom, top and bottom. They've even made this into a wide reel machine. You can even see the old hold buttons, they're now nudge buttons, don't exactly line up either, especially on reel 1, doesn't line up at all, you see, because this would have been a narrow reel machine originally when it was a JPM loot chute. I'll show you in the back in a minute. The two buttons here are obviously, they do nothing now, totally the other. They've changed the legends. Instead of having nudge, they would have had auto, they would have had probably nudge-matic and cancel like that. But now they're just blanks. They do nothing. They literally do nothing. Another little prime example of a conversion as well is this one here by BWB's Money Matrix. This was once, I guess, a special reserve, I think. Now this one has also had the top two buttons blanked off using BWB logos, but especially on this, look at the hole buttons. They don't nowhere near match the reels. They're way over. I don't know whether you can see that. You look at reel 1 and the red button. I mean, it looks like the first hole button is almost on reel 2. So I guess this is a special. Again, it's been turned into I think they were wide reel anyway, this type of cabinet. But you can see the buttons don't match. So that's a classic sign of a conversion, is that it's been converted. Quite often, I mean, this one here is an original machine, totally original machine. It's not been converted. This is what it was made as new. But this could easily be turned into one of them other games. So, but as I was saying, I was using Silver Classic as a good example, because this was once a JPM loot chute. Like I say, the two top buttons are now blanked off and not used because they're not needed. They've changed the two glasses. They've changed the reel bands, and in fact in this they've changed the reel deck as well, because they've made it a wide reel instead of a narrow reel. Narrow reels were like that on MPS machines. Only the first few had narrow reels, and then they went to wide like this. They've changed the button legends inside, because these would have said hold, but now they're just saying nudge, because this one doesn't hold at all. But hold on a sec, I'll pause this. Back again, Jamie, if you're still watching. I hope this is quite interesting for some people. Now this is where the big difference is. You can see, look at the lamps they've took off. They only keep the ones they want to use. They've even kept the two buttons connected, but like I say, they literally do nothing. I guess that's just to hold the lamp loom. I've had to put a bit of tape on to stop the lamp loom drooping down with the lamps hanging out. But you can see all these here would have had lamps on for the original JPM loot chute. Same, look down the bottom. All them ends would have had lamps on them. But because this machine doesn't have as many lamps as loot chute, nowhere near as many lamps, the ones they don't need, they just pull the lamp holders out and they just tie them up. No, they normally tie them up with cable ties like that. So all that's left is the cables that they actually need to light for the lights they need. And the same with the credit display, which is behind that white tube. On this machine, it only uses the bottom segment. So all JPM machines use the three lines, but that only uses the one. So in conversion, they've not bothered to use the other two. But keeps the same board, which is an MPS 1 in this case. Keeps the same board. And see that plug-in cartridge? That's your game. That contains your game chips, your game ROMs, whatever you want to call them. So they would be changed as well, of course, because the new game would be a different game, so the game ROMs would be changed. I don't know what else to say really. I'm hoping that that's kind of covers it all. Yeah, I mean, a lot of machines were converted in the 80s, and I guess they still are. I guess once players start finding out the programming flaws of the original game and they start winning out of them, arcade owners want a quick turnaround, get the machine changed into something else, something new, and it looks new and refreshing, I guess. And companies like not JPM, companies like PCP, BWB, MDM was another company. There was a few of them, and a lot of small operators in the early days converting machines so that they was a different game. That's, you know. But they just, I mean, they keep the basic wiring loom, just clip off the lamps that they don't need, use the same board, the same technology, obviously new program chips, new ROM chips, game chips, whatever you want to call them. So there you go. I hope that was a little bit of an interesting insight. And by the way, these two are conversions as well. I think these were also hot pots. So yeah, so they even put their own buttons. I mean, on this conversion they've kept the original JPM buttons because that's their style. But PCP's style is actually these. So you know, it's interesting. A lot of conversions about. These two are also conversions of JPM switchbacks. These both were, and these have been converted by PCP as well into Cache Filler and Fruit Connection into new games. You'll find that I don't think there was ever an original 2P machine made. I think every 2P machine you see, whether it's Topping Nudger or whatever, are all conversions. So anyway, I've gone on enough. Hope that was interesting for you. I hope that kind of explains. The smaller companies obviously can't afford to have cabinets made. I guess making cabinets is, you know, like a skill, an expensive job. So when JPM machines and Barcrest machines, the big companies, come out of service, I guess firms like BWB, PCP, MDM snapped them up, probably got them cheap, took out, you know, the old games and put in their own games. You know, relatively simple process, I guess. You can even see on this reel deck they've added the things in to spread the decks out, to put the wide reels on, and all of them have got different numbers, so they've come out of different machines. So they've all got different numbers. Anyway, hope that was interesting for you chaps. See you in a bit.